Alright, this is a Game of Life rundown. Basic Game of Life program with SFML graphics. Alright, so here it is. This is the default pattern for the Game of Life. It's known as a glider. So I'll press P for play, and that'll go ahead and initiate it. And as you can see, it's just a simple glider. It just moves down in this fashion. If I press P again, I can pause it. If I press C, it'll clear it, right? And then I can also press G for another predefined pattern. And here we have it. This was my attempt of a gun, but it was unsuccessful because of the grid dimensions. I couldn't extend the grid dimensions anymore because it would continue to crash. So I can press play and pause it, and then I can go ahead and clear it, right? And then another predefined pattern I have is a random pattern. This is a random arrangement of cells, and see they'll go ahead and interact. If I press P to pause it again, I can save it with S, and if I save it, if I cleared it and I press L for load, it'll go ahead and load it back. I'll press play. And that is basically the Game of Life program. To the right is just basically it was an attempt at writing some keys or instructions, but I did not continue with that. And that's pretty much it of this project. It's just a Game of Life project with arrays, 2D arrays, and SFML graphics. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the program really quickly, because I only have 5 minutes here. Let's see how much time I have. So I have 3 minutes left. Okay, so let's go to the main, including a bunch of the graphics, obviously. And so main is very simple. It has a type game with G, which is the object, and it basically calls one function, and then it just run. So let's go ahead and go to the game class really quick, which is the exact type that is in that main. So let's go ahead and see run first. So here's run. So run is basically has a while loop, and it calls the function process events, and there's an if statement that says if pause, and if it is not pause, or if it's true, then it's updated. So basically what happens is that pause is a boolean, and if it is true, then it updates. If it's not, then it doesn't update. So that is how the whole pause and play works, is that if it is true or false, run. If false, not run, and so forth like that. So the window dot is open is simply a predefined function in the SF class that basically creates a window so we can see what's going. We can see something. And render is another function that is not predefined. It is one that we made. So we'll go to process events first and take a quick look at that before we go on to render and update. So if we go to process events, process events is one of the key things about this program, because this is how the user kind of interacts with or makes the game go or run. So what we have here is an SF event class that has an object name event, terrible name, and what happens is we have a switch statement of event types, and what we're doing here is that we have a switch statement of keyboards, basically, that when the keyboard, a certain key is pressed, it'll call a function. So when you press C for clear, it calls g.clear, which is an object, right? Calling a function clear. And then random for R is g.scatter, which is another function, and the gun, and so forth. And basically what happens is you press the key, it calls a function, and there you have it. So if we go just to where are we going to next? We'll go to render, I guess. So what render is doing is basically clearing the window. It draws it up, which is another function, and it displays it, right? Update, step, these are all lower level functions that have to do with the Game of Life class, right? So this is basically makes the life and death of the